Today's topic, how to be a better speaker, or putting the present back into presentation. Recently, I was called into a corporation to coach their team on how to be better speakers, better presenters, to be more dynamic. As I watched them, I realized what I was being asked to do really was help them show up for themselves, help them to be present to themselves, to their audience, and to their message so that they could really share in an authentic, dynamic, exciting way. Another example that I have is when I had a student recently come to me who was going to give a wedding speech. And over 3 sessions, we prepared for the wedding speech. His brother was getting married, his younger brother, and he was the best man. And there would be just 2 speakers at the wedding, the best man and then the bridesmaid. So he had a big responsibility. It was going to be at a beautiful resort, a large wedding, and he was going to give a speech, and he wanted to do the best he could, so he decided to prepare. And that's always the key, is preparing for any kind of speech you're going to give. It makes the process much easier, and it makes it so that you can show up for yourself and be terrific. So what we did was, the first thing, pulled out the template on how to give a great wedding speech, which you can find on my website. It's a template that I used when I spoke at my niece's wedding last year. We pulled that template out and we decided why he was going to speak, how long it should be, the audience, what his part was, all of those things. And we got it down to a specific speech, the things he wanted to say. We brainstormed. And part of what he wanted to do was be funny. He wanted to give a funny speech. And in honor of that, he looked up some funny wedding speeches and he took some of their tidbits and learned from the best. And we worked with that and he came up with a good speech. Now, once we did that in the second and third sessions, in the second session, I noticed something instantly. And that was 3 parts of the speech that weren't working, or that weren't working to the best that they could. First of all, he was going too fast. Secondly, he was not landing on these jokes, landing in those moments. And third, he was a bit monotone. So how could we fix that? Well, really, it's about being present. It's not about the actual technical parts. It is partly, but beneath all of that, it's showing up for yourself, showing up for that moment so that he could really be in the moment. So the first part, going too fast. That's an indication that he really wasn't underneath himself. He was just kind of going through, and he was like walking through the different periods where there should be a period and continuing on with the sentences, as allowing himself to breathe and connect to his feelings, connect to his thoughts, and connect to the audience. So we slowed him down, and that allowed him to connect more to himself. Secondly, it was a funny speech, so we had to make his things land. And I'll talk to you about this in further videos, because where I'm talking from right now is from Scott Sedita Studios in Larchmont in Los Angeles, California, Hollywood. And he has a great book talking about the 8 characters of comedy, which I'm going to talk about in my next video. But it talks about how we have to make jokes land, making things land. And that is by pausing, by your pace, by your pitch, all of these things. So as we went through and we slowed him down and we started to have him really land on these moments, it made an impact. Another part of his speech that was being impacted by his not landing was his sensitive moments. He really wanted to give something to the audience about his brother, talk about how when they were kids, he would take his brother out of school for a day. There were about a 10-year difference between him and his brother. And his mother would say, okay, you can take him out for a day and take him skiing. And he taught him how to ski. It was this wonderful memory he had. And as he told it, he was very vulnerable. It was a very beautiful feeling, which was a nice balance to the comedy. But as he told it again, as he went too fast or he didn't land it, he was kind of backing off of those feelings. Once we realized he wasn't showing up for those feelings and he could just take his time and have those moments and feel those feelings, wow, that made such an impact on the power of the speech. And the third part was the monotone. Everything sort of sounded the same. Well, once he started to feel his feelings, once he started to slow down, once he started to connect to what it was he wanted to say, which was, I honor my brother, I love my brother, and I want to make my brother, his wife, and all of you laugh because it's such a joyous occasion. Once he kind of got all of those technical parts working, he started to show up for himself. And I'm happy to report his speech went brilliantly. I saw it. He actually filmed it. It was wonderful. It took preparation. It took showing up for himself. And the biggest part about it was it took him being present for himself, taking the time to work through those details, to realize what they meant to him, how the jokes, the seriousness, the stories, all combined together to present what it was that he wanted to do, which was to give an awesome wedding speech, make his audience laugh, and give something that would be memorable for years to come. Being present for yourself is going to make all the difference in the world in whatever it is that you do. If you can show up for yourself, whether that's through your morning ritual, whether it's through affirmations, working on all the different parts of your speech, articulation, voice, breath, speaking from the diaphragm, preparation, by having a perfect practice, by practicing, you can show up for yourself and have a wonderful encounter with the next person. Because in all of your relationships, you want them to flourish. You want your message to flourish. By being present to yourself, you give yourself the tools to achieve just that. I'm Patrick Munoz. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.